नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you. Thank you all very much for joining our daily Bhagavad Gita discussion class. So until now we have read 1 point up to 1.9. We are reading chapter 1 Bhagavad Gita as it is. We started with 1.1 Dharma Khetre Kurukhetre Samaveta Yoshava Mamaka Pandavasya Kim Akrubata Sanjaya. In that verse, we saw the importance of Dharma Khetra, what it means that Kurukshetra is a place for increasing Dharma. From the ancient age, the Devatas were making their sacrifice there. So here, Krishna, being the father of religion, is present, and like in a paddy field, the weeds which are looking like the rice plants has to be taken out so that rice plants can be nourished. In the similar way, Krishna, being the father of religion, is farmer and farming this Kurukshetra field, and he will take the weeds out, the Kauravas out. This is the main import of Dharmakhetra. And Dhritarashtra was inquiring. It seems a very obvious and redundant question that both the armies have come together to fight, but now what did they do? This seems a redundant question, but it's not. It has deep meaning inside. Because of relevance of Dharmakhetra, he was thinking that it might influence Pandavas it might influence his sons to compromise and not cause this war to happen. And at the same time, he was also hopeful if it influences, let it let it influence Pandavas, let them go to forest and let them not fight this. So a lot of these things were going on his head. We had discussed in detail, and it also reveals his selfish and partial nature, addressing his sons only Mamaka. And this goes on. And knowing the heart of Dhritarashtra, Sanjay started speaking and encouraging him. He told that, "Oh, my dear king, your sons are not compromising. Rather, Duryodhan has gone to his teacher to explain or to discuss about the warfare." And we saw the diplomacy of Duryodhan, how cunning and how clever he is. He started inciting anger. He started pointing faults on his teacher Drona, and saying that you are a liberal Brahmana, knowing that Drishtadumna, the only purpose of him is to kill you, but you have imparted all the Dhanurveda to him. Now you see how disrespectful your disciples are. All the Pandavas who have learned the archery skills and various other skills, Dhanurveda, from you, have come against you to fight. And do you see the audacity of Pandavas? So in that way, he was inciting anger. And instead of addressing Drishtadumna as Drishtadumna, he addressed as Drupada Putrena, so as to remind him about his enemy, all-time enemy Drupada. And indirectly, he is pointing that, my dear teacher, you should not be so lenient. You should give up your soft heart towards Pandavas. Otherwise, the defeat will be certain. So you should not do that. Then he has started mentioning about the warriors in Pandava side, because he was very fearful. He was very fearful. And Bhima and Arjuna were on his top of head, So he has mentioned many such warriors from Pandava side. Then thinking that, Dronacharya might feel that I am fearful of the opposite army. Then he started explaining about his army. Asmakam tu visistaya tan nivodadi tamanaya kamama sanyasya sanjartham tan bravimite. Who are they? Bhavan, Bhishmasya Karnasya Kripasya Samitinjaya. So he knows very well that Bhishmadev is the greatest fighter, much more capable than Dronacharya. But still he started with Drona. I have given one meaning in that he started with Drona because to cheer him up. At the same time, I was reading to other translations by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So it is mentioned that, Drona is a Brahmana. Bhishma is Kshatriya. So if Duryodhan will glorify or start with Bhishma, then Drona will feel insult. Why? Because Brahmanas are in higher social order. But instead, if start with Drona, then even though Bhishma is a great warrior, more powerful than Drona, but still Bhishmadev will not feel anything. Rather, he will feel happy because of glorifying a Brahmana before the Kshatriya. So in that way, he was, very calculated, Duryodhan. And also he mentioned about Vikarna, who is not worthy of mentioning in the cadre of Bhishma, Drona, Aswasthama, Karna. But Vikarna was the only, he is one such brother who has objected during the Draupadi's insult. So knowing that, or anticipating that he might support Pandava, he is also including him into his list, so as to flatter him. And then he has mentioned, Anyecha. And there are many such warriors like Jayadratha, Salya, Kritavarma. All of them are very valiant fighter. For my sake, they can let down their life. What does it mean? The internal meaning is they are very fond of me. That's the reason they can let down their life. And another meaning is like Krishna has spoken. Krishna will speak in chapter 11 that I have already killed them. So this verse also, this Madarthe Tyakta Jivita also indicates that yes, they have already laid down their life, for you. They are going to be killed certainly. So this is how it means. Yeah. So now let's go to our today's discussion. I'm sharing my screen. So this was a quick recap. Let's go to today's discussions of verse 1.10. We had already recited this verse last day, so I am straight away going to the meaning. Aparyaptang tadasmakang balang bhisma virakshitam paryaptang tudam etesam balang bhima virakshitam. Then Duryodhan has started comparing the strength of both the armies. In one hand, he's telling that aparyaptang tadasmakam. Balam Bhisma Virakshitam. One side means his side is protected by Bhisma Deva. And that's the reason it is aparyaptam. It is immeasurable. The strength of the Kauravas army is aparyaptam. Aparyaptam tat asmakam balam Bhisma Virakshitam. The strength of my side army is immeasurable because it is being protected by Bhismadev. Whereas the Pandava side, Bhima Virakshitam, is protected by Bhima. As compared to Bhismadev, he is not he is not in the same level of Bhismadev. He is much inferior. So hence it is protected by Bhima. The strength of the Pandava side army is Paryaptam, is limited. Paryaptam is limited, whereas the strength of my side is aparyaptam, unlimited or immeasurable. Our strength, aparyaptam. Okay, let's go to synonyms. Aparyaptam, immeasurable. Tat, that. Asmakam, of ours. Balam, strength. Bhisma, by grandfather Bhisma. Avirakshitam, perfectly protected. Paryaptam, limited. Tu, but. Idam, all this. Etesam, of the Pandavas. Balam, strength. Bhima, by Bhima. Avirakshitam, carefully protected. Translation: our strength is immeasurable and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhisma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, is limited. That's how he started comparing. Aparyaptam tadasmakam balam Bhisma virakshitam paryaptam tudam etesam balam Bhima virakshitam. Anvaya is like this: asmakam balam means our army, Bhisma avirakshitam, protected by Bhisma. That is, aparyaptam is immeasurable. But idam tu ete sambalam, but their army, Bhima avirakshitam, protected by Bhima, is paryaptam, limited. Let's go to purport. Herein, an estimation of comparative strength is made by Duryodhana. He thinks that the strength of his armed forces is immeasurable, being specifically protected by the most experienced general, grandfather Bhishma. On the other hand, the forces of the Pandavas are limited, being protected by a less experienced general, Bhima, who is like a pig in the presence of Bhishma. Duryodhana was always envious of Bhima because he knew perfectly well that he should die at all. He would only be killed by Bhima. You see, Bhima means Duryodhana is very fearful of Bhima. That's the reason he was doing several attempts to kill Bhima. He has attempted in killing Bhima in the childhood by poisoning him. And later, during the vicious assembly, when Draupadi was disrobed, was tried to be disrobed by Dushasan, that time especially, Bhima was very furious. Bhima was very furious and he roared in that assembly. And after the insult of Draupadi, he has taken specifically 3 vows. He told, I will kill all the sons of 100 sons of Dhritarashtra. I will kill by myself, one by one. So in Mahabharata, even though there was opportunity before Arjuna and other Pandavas to kill the other sons of the Dhritarashtra, but still they used to spare it for Bhima. And Bhima was very furiously having raised and roared like a lion, used to kill all these sons of Dhritarashtra one by one. And even the way he was killing, the army in the side of Pandavas also were fearful of Bhima. So he was like hissing like a snake out of anger. So then the second vow Bhima had taken, like, oh, Duryodhan, I will break your thigh, which you have shown and hinted Draupadi, because at that time when Draupadi was insulted, Duryodhan has shown his thigh and told Draupadi, oh, now you are fit to come and sit in my thigh. You are no more a property of Pandava. So Bhima took the second vow, I will break your thigh, Duryodhan, which you have shown to Draupadi to sit. How dare you to hint like this? Then he took the third vow that I will rip the chest apart of that Dushasan who has pulled Draupadi from her inner chamber to the assembly. Because Draupadi that time was in menstrual cycle, so she was covered with only one sari. And Dushasan, when he ordered by Duryodhan, went to Draupadi's chamber. Draupadi was pleading, oh Dushasan, please, you want me to come to assembly? You can bring the message from the assembly. I can answer that. You can take my reply back. So why you need to pull me to the assembly? Don't you know that I am now in one sari? It's very uncomfortable. And after all, I am the princess. I mean, not princess. I am the queen. I am the respected queen of the Pandava dynasty. How come I will come to the elders with this condition? But Dushasan, having no any soft corner, he was so cruel. He pulled Draupadi, and Draupadi was, kind of pulled with her hairs, and then he was kind of Draupadi was so annoyed, and so means she was crying out of all these sad moments. So, but still, Dushasan was not. He was very hard-hearted that time. So Bhima took his third vow that, oh Dushasan, I will rip your chest apart, and I will take out that hard heart, and I will drink blood. I will squeeze that heart and drink blood. And your hands, those hands, were engaged in pulling the sari of Draupadi. I will take those hands out. I will break those hands, and with this blood, I will wash the hairs of Draupadi, because Draupadi has taken a vow not to tie her hair until Dushasan is killed. So those kind of this vows seems very furious, but yes, Bhima was very angry at that point in time. So Duryodhan, remembered that incident. So always he was very fearful of Bhima. But at the same time, he was confident of his victory on account of presence of Bhishma. who was a far superior general. His conclusion that he would come out of the battle victorious as well as certain. Although Bhima is furious, but Duryodhan is confident because Bhishma's you knew the prowess of Bhishma. Bhishma is far superior general. In front of him, no Arjuna, no Bhima, nobody can stand. And Bhishma is fighting on the side of Duryodhan, so he was very certain about his victory. Yeah, so we will read the verse 11 tomorrow. Yeah, so here there is another meaning given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Like, what is that? Aparyaptam. Aparyaptam also can be translated as insufficient. So, and paryaptam is also can be translated as sufficient. Because Duryodhan is now talking to Drona, and at the same time Bhishma is also there. So by the first meaning, what we just discussed, he was cheering up Bhishmadev. Bhishma virakshitam, aparyaptam, immeasurable. Where the Pandava side is Bhima virakshitam, limited, paryaptam. But another meaning is, he is addressing to Drona that, oh my dear Drona, oh my dear teacher, Bhishmadev, although he is a great fighter, but he has soft corner toward Pandavas. Because of that, he might not be fully engaged in the fighting. And aparyaptam, because of this, our strength is insufficient. Whereas, you see, Bhima is hissing like a snake, is very committed to fight, and all the Pandavas are very furious, and they are planning all throughout 13 years. And you see such a huge army they have arranged in front of us, and their strength is paryaptam because of their commitment. Paryaptam, sufficient, but our strength is insufficient. Hence, my dear teacher, you should fight with all convictions. So this is, Duryodhan was very diplomatic. He was satisfying all the warriors by dual meanings of the statements. So Drona took the second meaning. So he was feeling happy. Okay. So because he was thinking that he is glorifying Drona. And Bhishmadev, kind of Srila Prabhupada has translated and the first translation like Bhishma virakshitam. So Kaurava side is immeasurable, whereas the Pandava side is limited, paryapta. Depending upon which translation, both the translations is true. Okay, so time is up. We are ending here. So tomorrow we will read the verse 11. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Thank you all very much.